Welcome to Metis Posh Radio, India's first radio for posh awareness. And today we are discussing a topic that can actually make or break a workplace culture. That's the manager's responsibilities in creating a safe work environment. And today I have with me my colleague Komal. Hey Komal.
Hi, Jaya.
Policies and internal committees, of course, are very important, but I think we know through our experience that managers are one of the most important part when it comes to Posh itself, right? Because they're the first point of contact. So I think in most of the companies, at least people who want to complain or air their grievances, if the manager himself or herself is not the harasser, I think the managers by default are the first point of contact, right?
Yeah.
So I think those first 10 minutes, which we call the golden 10 minutes, right? When they talk first to the employee, I think what they speak, how they conduct, and how they, how they really approach the entire the complaint itself actually makes or breaks, there. So, what are your experiences that you have seen? When employees come and share their grievances, what have you seen noticed as to how the managers have handled it?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. If I'm in trouble, I'm going to think of my manager, right? I'm not going to wake up in the morning or when something happens, I'm not going to immediately think which policy, which law applies to me, right? I'm going to think I must go talk to my manager and hope that my manager supports me. So I think, of course, the most important thing as a manager is you're not here to investigate, you're not here to sort of tell them what is right, what is wrong, give them your point of view or opinion, but you're here to create a culture that makes every individual feel safe, right? I should feel that I have someone who has my back. I can, whatever it is in my head, I can go and discuss it with this person. And because as a manager, expectation is you have better understanding of the organization, etc., you will be able to support me in finding the right thing to do.
You know,
Right?
on that note, I have seen that though everyone knows where the Posh policy is, seldom does anyone go and see what is there in the policy document. The first time they come and talk to a manager, they've not gone through any document. Actually, manager becomes the person to actually give them that information. So I think the manager also should be aware of what the policy says, right? And who the internal committee members. In fact, in one of the companies, when they were all going for a party, right, and they wanted me to address the entire team. It was a huge team going for an office party. And the first thing I told the manager is, please keep all the internal committee members' details and their contact details handy. You will never know when it can, when you will need help. We have had situations where managers have called 11 o'clock in the night. Somebody has got drunk, just misbehaved, barged into somebody's room in a hotel or a resort where they're having their team outing. And the manager calls up the IC, the HR, like 11:30 in the night just to know what should we do. Right? So I think it's very important that manager also is aware of what the policy is and just not treat it like any other policy just lying there. I think he should be aware of what the policy contains, at least who the internal committee members are, and the first things that he should be doing as soon as someone reaches out for help.
Yeah, that's true. So, as a manager, if I'm not aware myself of what are the procedures, what different policies of the and I'm not even saying just Posh, right? What different policies the organization has that can help my team, then I'm not able to support them because as a manager, more than just the work you do, you become a manager because and then you are now responsible for so many people under you, and unfortunately, so many times. I've had situations where people go to the managers. Now, again, I think the point is to discuss what should a manager really say, right? Like, um, to support is one thing, but to also instigate is another, right? So, or to completely question a person's understanding of the situation, right? So, things that a manager should not say. Are you sure you didn't get confused? Are you sure it was on purpose, right? Do you think that maybe you misunderstood the situation? Really, I have never had such a situation with this person, right? Questioning the understanding of the person who's talking in front of you. So I think very important that managers don't think that their role here is to sort of tell me whether or not my complaint is real or not, whether or not I should go to a party or not, but is really just to uh, listen to me and then guide me to the right policy, guide me to the right committee without interfering, right? Without putting anything extra in my head. You know, I've had situations where managers, where a person has shown a manager screenshot of something inappropriate. And then the manager has asked the person, where is the original message? And this individual said, I've deleted it. And the manager said, there's no point. You can't do it. There's no evidence. You can't do anything, right? Now, here you're overstepping a little bit. It's not for you to discuss and even decide whether or not the evidence that is available or not available is worth the IC's attention or not, right? So, really just giving that person the moment, right? And immediately. When it comes down to it, when people actually call you and say, I have something to talk to you. Can you give me a few moments? Don't say next week. Don't say next Friday, I'm back. Immediately pick up the phone, get into a call, get into a meeting with this person. Because when a person says, can I have a moment with you, private, it's almost always about something very, very personal, which they desperately want to talk to you immediately about. We've even had situations where managers are busy. I mean, of course, the more senior the manager, the more busy they are. A person's traveling, and for a month or more, this lady is going on trying to get time with the manager, and the manager is just not available. And finally, things escalate, and then it becomes far worse than it should have gone. Right? And so, what do you think about? So, one is this, of course, but also interference, right? So where the manager feels that I'm responsible for my team's safety and their well-being. One person comes and tells me that something like this has happened. I immediately go and intervene, react, tell the person to stop, etc. Do my own investigation of sorts, right?
So, I've had, experiences where complainants, when they've come to the internal committee, have said that the moment they spoke about the incident to the manager says, oh, really? But I know him for the last so many years, yeah. This must be some kind of a misunderstanding, Are you sure? And so she was like, you're a male and you're his manager. So naturally, the way he would behave with you is not the way he would behave with me, right? So he's like, no, but I have seen him, talking to everybody. There must be some kind of a misunderstanding. So, the comments like this from the manager actually really breaks down the trust of the lady itself. And she's like, okay, my manager only is not like believing me.
Yeah.
So what will the IC believe? Because it's an investigating committee, right? So they like, okay, basic thing, the manager is only not believing, then how will they trust me? So most of the time they think that, acha, there is no evidence. So I think there's nobody to trust. And this manager investigating themselves. I've had a situation where the lady came and said that, this is what happened in the office party. And the manager has told her, you know what, just don't go to the posh committee or don't go to the HR and let's not make it a big scene. We will try to solve it amongst ourselves. So she has told, sir, you just take care of it. I just don't want this to happen. I can't see this person. Can you please change my team? And the manager has told, yeah, don't worry, I'll change your team and all of that. So the manager, without knowing any background about the case, has gone ahead and first changed her team, just listening. And then he has gone around talking to all the witnesses. And without even, like, these are all confidential things, right? I mean, so he's gone around telling this story to everybody on the floor, getting their, their inputs on what they saw, what they heard, etc. And within 10 minutes, half of the office knew what the issue was with her. And she just couldn't come to the canteen. I mean, the moment she enters a breakout area or the cafeteria, everyone would be, she was making the heads turn. Everyone was looking at her, gossiping, turning, So it became very difficult for her. So the manager, it's not that managers don't want to do the right thing. They just don't know what's the right thing to do. So that's where it is. And I've also had experience where the manager has actually told this to the complainant, and the complainant later, of course, she's come and shared it in the committee proceedings, saying that, don't tell this to anyone, let this be only between me and you. So that manager can take a call himself or herself and ensure that the respondent is not, facing a very tough scrutiny, because a respondent could be a very, very high performing employee. And manager wants to ensure that, if he gets away from the team, it's going to be a big problem for the project and all of that. So he wants to save that person. So, he has told, let this be only between us and I will solve it. And he has gone and told the respondent, um, so don't talk to her for some time and let's keep this low. And, after that, what was happening behind the scenes, the managers had no clue. So there's a lot of retaliation happening behind the scenes, which the manager was not even aware of. That's because, respondent was doing his way of retaliating against her, right? So all this can be actually stopped if it comes to the internal committee.
Absolutely.
And managers think that they can do all of this, but they have no clue what and all can go wrong, right? So that's why we keep telling the managers that don't be superhumans and try to do, things, various things when someone reaches out to you. The golden first 10 minutes that we're talking about, I think the first few things that we would want all the listeners who are managers to do is just don't be biased, don't judge them, listen carefully what they have to say, and please thank the person who wants to come and share their grievances. Avoid investigating yourselves, and also avoid making any promises that you cannot keep.
Yes.
Right? And also be very supportive in facilitating the right help for this person, and ensure that you are coordinating with this person through the entire investigation to ensure that she's feeling continuously she's trying to feel safe.
Absolutely. The first response actually decides whether a person is going to continue talking or now going to become silent.
Correct.
So, and that is absolutely in the manager's hands. In specifically in posh cases, because we don't want to talk to too many people, and we'll just end up talking to our manager.
So another thing that I wanted to talk is also managers. So sometimes complainants may not come and talk to the managers first, but they are actually giving certain signals, right? I think things happen in the team which manager probably is not observing. I think there are certain early warning signals that also comes, which I think managers should be aware of.
Yeah, managers are there they are the first people who will notice if a particular individual is avoiding another team member. If they are not, if they're trying to not be a part of certain team outings or meetings when certain specific people are called, when they behave differently with everybody, and very, very differently with one such person, right? All these very specific signs, asking for project changes when a particular person is there, right? These are signs and very early signs that only a manager can actually notice and reach out to a person, right? And say, and this is of course not to escalate, not to confront, but just be a manager, right? Be their support system. And that's exactly what a manager is. For a quick confidential or just a heart to heart on how are you doing, are you okay, is there something you want to discuss, anything, up to you, right? Don't have to put them in a corner, in a fix, but yes, definitely reach out when you notice such certain warning signs within your team, right?
That's true. Recently I was handling a case, and we spoke to the manager to give us some information, right? And he was telling, you know what, she was often taking leaves, and she was telling she's not feeling well, and she was telling that, she wants to contact the company's, counselor, and she used to often say that she's not had a good sleep. She was giving me these hints, and I never realized that she was going through so much in the office. And apparently she had also fainted, a couple of other things that she was already exhibiting. He thought, it's her personal space, I shouldn't be interfering, etc. But actually, it was because of a workplace-related sexual harassment, and all the symptoms were showing up in the office, right? And even, during the team calls, she would say, "Sir, can I just stay away from this team call if I'm not necessary?" And even in the meetings where everyone needs to be on a video call, she would just switch off her video. And when the manager would ask what happened, no, sir, I'm not comfortable. Which she was always comfortable earlier, and she's not now. So these are subtle changes, some early warning signals that were already coming. But, it's important that managers keep observing all these things.
Absolutely right. So we don't expect managers to be detectives, right?
Mm.
We just want them to be observant individuals
true.
to make sure that everybody in their team is feeling safe, secure, is thriving really, right? Like, I've come here to work. Let me just do my work. And that's
Yeah.
all really most people
Yeah.
expect and
Yeah.
want from their workplace.
Yeah. The managers being the role model, I think that is also very critical, right? Like, imagine if the manager of a company who's responsible for, say, n number of women in the office, and this manager goes out on a stand-up comedy and makes jokes like 370 rupees biryani, which is just doing the rounds. Imagine if that person was a manager in a company. Don't you think the women would feel so uncomfortable saying that if he can speak like this in a public forum? I mean, whom are we working under?
Right.
Right? So how they behave, how they lead as an example is sending actually signal to the entire team as well.
Managers are our role models, right? When you find somebody that you can really look up to as a manager, you really, connect to that job.
Mm.
And I had this situation where after an awareness session, these girls came and spoke to me. And they said that, their manager ended up also being one of my IC members. And they came and specifically spoke about how he behaves
Mm.
and the fact that his whole team is a problem for them,
Mm.
right? They were the only two girls in that team, and they felt the atmosphere within the team was very, very toxic, and they attributed a lot of it to the behavior of the manager himself, who joked around a lot, right? And this is something that I actually want to point out, that a lot of times people say he's normally he jokes around a lot, he's a fun person, or they are a fun person, whoever that person is, right? But joking a lot can sometimes also mean that you sort of end up crossing the lines without realizing it, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe knowingly, but and that's where you start giving an impression. So yes, I mean, we want the manager to be someone I can rely on, I can look up to, not necessarily someone I can laugh at, right? Or with also all the time. Maybe once in a while when we're in situations, sure. But that's not, I mean, great if your team can laugh with you, but that's not your main thing, right?
Yeah.
Your team should feel safe with you more than anything else, right? So that we can focus on our work again.
And also, I've had experiences where, the complainant has come and told that when this person made the joke, it could be a sexist joke or probably something that is double meaning. The loudest person to laugh was the manager. And that is why I felt so, I took 10 steps back to come forward and complain. That has actually put her back, and she's lost the trust. And she said that, more than him making the comment, I was feeling bad that why is the manager laughing so hard? So I think when you say zero tolerance, right, it's not just on papers. Everyone is looking up to your leader also following the zero tolerance. And if the manager is going to be okay with any kinds of sexist comments or sexual remarks, double meaning comments being made, he is also making them. I think it sets a tone in the or in the team at least, saying that, hey, this is okay. Now we had, when the lady came and complained to us in one of the cases, she had made her manager the co-accused. Co-accused because he laughed. And he said, अरे इसमें क्या है? क्यों आप इतने नाराज क्यों हो रहे हो? अरे इतना ही तो है. So the itna hi to hai word was so upsetting for her. So she was like, he made the comment. I could have given it back to him. But when he made this comment and, I was angry, immediately the manager is getting angry with me that I am just, overreacting for such a thing. So when I saw my own manager trivializing this, supporting him and saying that, "Arey, itna hi to hai," that actually got me thinking that maybe I am being oversensitive about this. And for a long time, I did not complain. But now I feel that I want to complain. I want to make my manager also co-accused. So managers don't realize their reactions are actually, being monitored, being seen by people and all of that. So I think being a role model themselves is, very, very critical as far as managers are concerned. Okay, so the other most important responsibility of the manager in terms of POSH I'm talking about is the confidentiality. We have so many examples of a breach happening there, right?
Yeah.
So you have any experiences that you want to share?
In everything they do after they come to know, if it's not going to the internal committee and informing them, It's a breach of confidentiality. I had this instance where this lady came and filed a complaint against this guy. The respondent, the moment he has come to know, got the email, complaint email, he has packed his bag, gone home to not come back to work again. But we got in touch with him. He's agreed to conduct the investigation, be a part of the inquiry virtually. Now, we're conducting the investigation. 1 month in, the girl comes to us and says, I need time off. I can't take this anymore. We were like, why do you need time off? The guy's not here in the workplace. So where are you facing the retaliation? She says, everyone's talking about it.
Mm.
So now how? So I'll tell you how it happened. When this incident has happened, she has gone and told her manager. Her manager has gotten very worked up and gone and spoken to his manager, the respondent's manager. Then both the managers together have gone and spoken to the respondent. And the respondent, of course, has then told his friends what the conversation was, etc. The girl has, of course, told a few friends of hers. Right? Now, everybody is aware of why he is not coming to work. Right? Because his friend is telling other friends and so on, back and forth. And now the whole office is talking about it. So even though the respondent is nowhere there in the picture anymore in the workplace, she's feeling retaliated against, right? That there's a lot of gossip and I don't feel comfortable. Now, this is something of your own doing almost, right? And of course, the manager has played a key role, both the managers together, in really making this the gossip of the entire organization, right? So, listen, but don't react. Don't judge. Don't take action on your own, right? Support them. And then when they are ready, then escalate to the right committee. That's all you really need to do. Don't interfere. Don't make matters worse as a manager for all the people involved, right?
That's true. Even while the investigation is ongoing, right, the managers would get to know either through an interim relief request that comes from the IC or whatever. At least they will know that there is a complaint, or sometimes they would have only, helped the lady reach out. So now, if the manager is aware that, the investigation procedure is going on and he sees that there's some gossip happening in the team, I think he has a responsibility to ensure that he calls them and tells them not to talk about it. In some cases, we saw that the manager was trying his best to gather the witnesses and teach them what needs to be told when an internal committee calls. And apparently, he's been telling his team members that, of course, he wanted the respondent to be supported in this case because respondent was a very high performer and he didn't want, the respondent to be, proven guilty or whatever. So, he's actually maneuvering, getting help from the witnesses, calling his team members and and naturally these team members are very juniors, yeah. Some of them are interns, some of them are, just early in career graduates and all of that, right? So they, apparently when manager is teaching them what to tell if the internal committee calls, because now he knows what are the things that the IC is looking at, right? Because we have already spoken to him. So he's calling them up one by one on one. And then he tells them, so some of the juniors, when we had called them to the meetings, they also said, we asked our manager, is this going to be a Teams call? Is it going to be a schedule? He didn't want to have any trace of the fact that he was having one-on-one with them. So he has told them, I will give signals. I will tell who has to come from my cabin. One by one, you all come. And one by one, they're all coming to his cabin. And he's telling them, if the IC asks you this, you have to tell like this. Don't tell like this, but tell like this. So apparently he thought that everyone would listen blindly and, not tell anything. But apparently someone who knew what had happened to the complainant was wrong, felt very wrong about what the manager was doing, and actually came up and spoke to the presiding officer saying that this is what is happening. Right? So, so managers have a big role to play in terms of confidentiality. I mean, if you see, in every case, and we have had some amazing experiences also where managers have intervened, ensure that nobody judges the person, ensures that, the complainant feels safe. Managers, there are a lot of cases where managers have done the right thing, but I think today's session is more in sharing details of what could go wrong and where they should be careful about, right?
So also when inquiries are going on, Managers' responsibility also is to be very, very upfront and open with the internal committee. I've had situations where managers are very, very senior persons and they refuse to share information about a respondent.
They can't do that, right?
They can't. But they feel they have a responsibility to protect their team. So when we are asking questions, they're giving vague answers, generalizing and saying all my team members would have received completes, right? And not being forthcoming with the IC in an attempt to, in fact, questioning the IC on the intent of their question so that he can answer accordingly. And very openly saying, I want to understand why you're asking me the question so I can give you an appropriate answer.
True.
Because if you just ask me if I've received issues against a person, yeah, I've received issues against many people in my team. So now why do you want to know about this person? Right? So being not upfront and clear with the internal.
So there was one case where the manager told the internal committee, you have to put the questions in writing and send it to me, what questions you're going to ask. And I will prepare the answers. We said, you don't have to prepare, just tell us the truth.
Yeah.
You don't have to prepare the, answer. Also in posh cases, one is, see, internal committees anyway under section 12 will be taking care of interim relief, which is basically to protect the complainant or witnesses from further retaliation. But manager has such a big role to play even in that. ICs are not sitting every day in the desk and watching whether retaliation is happening or not. They can only make those subtle change of the place, or give them work from home options, or transfer to another location and all of that. But manager is a person who's actually there in the workplace, real time, seeing what is happening around. I think he has a bigger role to play, and ICs have to leverage that help from the manager to ensure there is no retaliation happening. Many cases, managers themselves retaliate.
Yes.
So what are the different ways that we have seen managers retaliating? For example, first of all, when they come to the internal committee, they come with a, with the thought that, oh, this lady is a troublemaker. We have to guide them, say that, you need to be unbiased in the way you give your opinion. We are asking you for certain things that you have seen, heard, or whatever. You're not supposed to give your opinion on the case, right? So having said that, we've also had managers going back, removing those complainants from critical projects.
Yes. Very common.
Yeah. And then assigning them to something that's very insignificant. Complainants come to us and say, hey, we are fit enough to contribute. I am strong enough to contribute. I just want the action to be taken on these on my complaint, but I am fit enough to kind of continue my job. Why is my work being reassigned? Why am I not being put on this project? Why am I missing out on the travel opportunities? Why am I missing out on being a part of this particular team working on this AI related project, right? So reassignment, project allocation, removing certain benefits, redesigning the work itself or project requirements according to, their bias towards the complainant is also something that we have seen.
Excluding them from team outings, group events that are happening, trying to make sure that they're not a prominent part of it, or just generally being a little off with them, right? Which is something that we've seen many, many times, especially when we find that the respondent and the managers have been very good together.
Oh yeah, so that gets me. So one of the cases that I was handling, right, the lady has actually not come forward and complained to the internal committee because she sees the topmost guy in her hierarchy, the senior leader, having family vacation with the respondent's family. And even if they're having family vacation, they're putting out on all social media platforms. The respondent wants everyone to see and say, hey, look, I have connection with the powerful in the organization, whatever, for whatever reasons he put out. He put it out on company group, that's work group, work related groups that they have, right? In that, he has put it up as his status. Then he has spoken about it with employees. So naturally, what is the message that he's sending? That, hey, I am with who's who of the company. And even the leaders and managers, right, have to be very careful not to cross those personal and professional boundaries. Because of which, in fact, not just the complainant, the witnesses were also very scared to speak anything against the respondent.
Rightly so, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're absolutely right. And this is actually the main point, that when we are, as managers, trying to be role models, trying to set an example, that's not just within the workplace. That's not just when we are doing our work, right? People think I'm great at my work. My rating is great. I always close projects on time. I'm doing the best work possible. Now it gives me all the freedom to do whatever else I want without any inhibitions or without a care in the world. But you do, as a manager, you still need to make sure that you're portraying yourself as a certain individual, right? Because my trust in you, my faith in you, my ability to come and confide in you totally depends on how you behave in general on a personal level, right? When something uncomfortable happens to me, I'm not looking at the best performer. I'm not going to go check who was the manager who got the best rating, right?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to
true.
go to a person who is approachable and I can actually go and have a heart to heart with, right? And that's what you have to keep in mind as a manager. What you do in your personal life, there has to be boundaries. You can be great friends. And should you become great friends with anybody at the workplace, especially when you're talking about your own team members, you have to maintain those boundaries. How much you talk about it in the workplace, how much you sort of show it up in the workplace, because it gives it gives an impression to everybody else in your team as well, and they will judge you and that other person basis your relationship with them, and that's important for us to sort of as managers manage much better.
So, what do you think is the best advice that you want to give to our listeners on anyone who reaches out to their manager and says, "Hey, I'm trusting you and I'm telling you this, but please don't tell this to anyone." So, what should the manager do
You're
according?
asking the wrong person, because I have a very black and white view on this.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel while I respect the confidentiality and the trust that I have put in you as a manager, when I tell you, I'm telling you something, but don't tell anyone else. Don't do anything, don't tell anyone else. The same time, as a manager, can you really take the responsibility of an individual's safety? Can you really say, should something worse happen, I will take responsibility and I will not tell anyone else? I don't think so. And can you take responsibility for hundreds of other people who are going to come after this person and still go through the same thing? So I'm going to give you an example of something that really did happen, and I found it very wrong. So we had this incident where this recruiter has had 3 different girls come to her and tell her that a certain very senior individual skip level reporter into is making them very uncomfortable. Now we spoke to this recruiter because she went and told HR without revealing the names of these 3 girls. So we, as an external member, I spoke to her trying to understand what is her reasoning and all of that. In that, she revealed to us that she herself has experienced similar stuff with this individual, and she was able to manage and take care of herself, right? But she still, no matter what we did, refused to tell us the identity of those 3 girls because she said that they had put their trust in her. Now, did you inform them about the internal committee? I asked her. She said, I wasn't sure if there was an internal committee. So, for me, it was just unfathomable that something is happening. We know it's happening, and you refuse to tell us, so that we can't. So that means you don't trust us first, and now the same distrust in the internal committee you would have put into that other person, right? Because you are talking to us where you're clearly saying that I don't think it's possible that you do it in a manner that everybody comes out happy in the end, right? So clearly you would have put that into the minds of the complainants, the victims as well, right? And furthermore, you're a recruiter. You know how many people you're hiring under that person. Are you okay with all of those other people also going through? And this is somebody's first job experience. Are you really saying that you're okay with maybe 10 more girls coming and going through the same experience? So rather than breach their faith in you, you are okay with many, many more people facing the same. And this person gets bolder, never less bold, right? Nobody says, oh, I'm getting away with it. Let me just slow down now, right? They just get bolder and get far more extreme in their behavior, right? So to me, there's only one answer. Have faith in your IC. Know that they will do the right thing. They will not. We as an IC will never force a person into coming forward and filing a complaint, right? We will only support you in understanding what is what all we can offer you, and hope that you will be able to then put your faith in us and come forward and file a complaint, right? We are not going to say, irrespective of whatever you say, we're going to still take up this complaint, right? So there's only one right answer, and that is you have to confide in your IC and let them do the right thing. You cannot possibly assume that this is a one-off. Nobody else is ever going to face it. So let this, close here.
Yeah. So that reminds me. So we had these one by one, I think some 4-5 girls going and telling the manager that a very, very senior person to whom they all go and talk as a mentor, right? Looks at their chest and talks, right? And looks like how? He looks at in a way that makes them feel very, very uncomfortable directly into their chest. Many girls are saying that, and the manager says, so they all went and spoke to the manager saying that it's making us feel very uncomfortable. He's a very senior guy. Of course, he was an individual contributor, but very senior guy. And all these guys, the juniors, used to go to him because he was a mentor, assigned mentor. And then the manager says, अरे वो ऐसा ही है, हमको भी ऐसे ही देखता है. अरे if he's watching men, it's a different thing. And when the same thing happens to women, it is different. So just because men don't feel bad doesn't mean that women should not feel bad. And most of them were feeling bad. And then the same person also itches all over his body, including his, private parts in team meetings. Women, men, everyone, all men laugh about it, but women are feeling very uncomfortable. And the manager says, अरे उसका वो आदत है, उसकी आदत है वो करते रहता है, वो don't mind. And women said that, see, we have to keep attending meetings, and every meeting he is there and he does this in front of everyone. It makes us feel uncomfortable. So the manager has been pushing it off, saying that, अरे वो ऐसा ही है, उसकी वो आदत है. We don't feel bad, we just brush it off. He's not doing it with any sexual intention. This is his habit. So it's not about intention. Those acts are making women feel uncomfortable, and manager has a responsibility there and not just brushing it, because he's just, by not taking an action, he's just putting more and more people at, risk of feeling uncomfortable and things like that.
On exactly the same thing, I had a manager tell this girl saying that, अब घूरने पे थोड़ी ना टैक्स लगाएंगे. अब क्या कर सकते हैं, देख ही तो रहा है. As if that's okay.
Thank you, Komal, for your lovely thoughts and a great conversation. Well, the effectiveness of a POSH framework is just not when a complaint reaches the internal committee. It's the entire environment that is created to make a person feel safe. It is often determined by that first conversation that a manager has, how a manager chooses whether to listen, whether to support and act responsibly, etc. So managers are merely not investigators, but they're also the guardians of workplace dignity. So with that, I sign off.
Thank you.
Bye.